What is your American dream?
My American dream is humility with humanity. What I mean by that is when you walk into a room, realize that the first thing that you have the same is that you will be different. And until you get to know that person and learn about them, make your own decisions.
My American dream will be to, it's time for the new generation to come and pass the torch.
My American dream would be that the U.S. learns community and culture from Mexico and from all of its immigrants, because that is what makes America beautiful.
It's about putting good stories out there. There's so many things that we should be aware of. For me, it would be amazing as an American dream if I could open doors to more women to produce their content.
We are the United States. We're not the divided states. So that's my dream, that everybody can see that. So today, that's why I decided to do this exhibition on a Sunday, which Sundays are family days in Latin America. It's called a Domingo Familiar, so that we can all get together as families, not only to celebrate who we are, but also to help others stay together that cannot be together.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Squat up, everybody! It is Monday, May 17th, and if I didn't say squat up enough, squat up, 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 Yo-Yo and Vanessa. How up are you today? It is Monday. We're coming into the summer. Finally,
Yes,
we're gonna have, we'll always have fun, but it's always a little more fun. I love summer.
It's warm.
Yeah. I don't want to say finally we're going to have fun, because I always have fun, but finally we're going to have some up, some extra fun.
Yes.
I hear the weather's great in New York right now.
It is.
You guys must be loving that.
It is. And how are you doing down there in Florida with the weather? It's rainy and humid. Is it starting to get rainy and humid?
Nope.
No.
A lot of sunshine and palm trees and flowers on this side, bud.
Just wait till it gets rainy and humid in the summer. You're going to be dying to come up here. Do you have, by the way, any plans now that Yo-Yo, you are vaccinated and shortly will be immune, I assume? You're not 2 weeks into it yet. But now that it appears that certainly in the United States of America, not in other parts of the world, not doing as well as the U.S., but and I know, Nesquik, you said you will shortly be getting vaccinated. Maybe you even did over the weekend. I don't even know. But do you have any special plans now? Because last year was kind of like a lost summer. Is there makeup plans you got for this year?
For me, at least, it's see my family. I haven't seen them in almost it's going to be 2 years, in Christmas time. So that's my priority right now. I've been turning up here in New York, by myself. So I don't really need to turn up like that. I'd rather see my family.
So you're going to go out to California at some point where they all are. Okay, that's nice.
Yes.
And Nesquik?
Yeah. It seems like I do annual trips to the Dominican Republic every year, and I haven't been able to due to COVID. And it seems like restrictions are getting a little better there with the vaccination being more of a thing. So I'll hopefully get to make my trip to the Dominican Republic this summer.
Well, I am going to see my parents, who are in their 80s. I have not seen them physically. I've seen them on FaceTime and Zoom meetings with the rest of the family, but I have not seen my parents physically since last summer. So it's been almost a year. I'm going to see them this coming up Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, I love traveling. So hopefully there will be some more countries that open up to allow Americans to travel. I love traveling. I love seeing new cultures and learning new things. That's my thing personally. So I'm looking forward to that, because last summer, obviously, weren't able to travel anywhere. And I wonder, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, if the squad has any special plans for the summer? Because, I was thinking about it. It was like last summer was Lost Summer. It was like, it was like we were like in the television series Lost. Nobody was able to do anything. We were just completely lost on an island. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. This summer,
the entire year was lost.
But that summer is summer, So, when you lose a summer, that's the worst. That's the worst season to lose. But yeah, we lost an entire year. So I wonder now, we're going to talk about it in our schmooze, even like here in New York. Governor Cuomo, as of Wednesday, said that if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask anymore unless you're in certain areas. And by the way, you don't have to doesn't mean you don't. Just means if you're uncomfortable not wearing a mask, you could wear a mask. There's nothing wrong with it. Just saying it's optional now. But I wonder what other people want to do. If you can check what they're doing while I say hi to the squad. In the chat. And
I know Stargirl Mika said I'm traveling to Atlanta for my birthday and my friend's birthday this year. So
that's amazing.
Travel is definitely a lot of people's plans.
I will be in Atlanta, Stargirl, sometime in August. I don't know the date, but I will be in Atlanta sometime in August because my daughter Gabby is going to be going to Emory University freshman year, and of course, my daughter will ask her father to bring down all of her clothes and move her into the dorm, because that's what fathers do. So I know I will be doing that at some point. Let's say hello to the squad. Jessica Kalimi, squad up, how are you? Edwards Trisique Natrice, squad up. Yanni Russell, squad up, how are you? Poppy Samuel, saying hi, Brad, squad up. Jacqueline Daly, squad up. Lisa Bling, how are you? Elizabeth Francis, squad up. Karen Rowe, Dawn Parchment, Carol Anderson, the Tiger, never misses a show. Elizabeth Francis, she could be our Iron Lady, Carol the Tiger. Do you ever recall her ever missing a show ever? Of all of the squad? Is there some, I wonder, and by the way, if, I know like, for example, Jessica Kalimi never misses a show. Stargirl mostly hasn't missed a show. Lisa Bling, once every so often.
Right.
Maybe I'm missing a few others. If you have not missed a show in a year, you let me know. I will give you a shout out. Christine Bennett, squad up. How are you? Sasha Ford, maybe. She's usually here too, right? She may never have missed a show. Joan Grant, Shio Domain, how are you? Violet Blackwood. Who else we got here? Willie O. Williams, also working, never misses a show, rarely. Judy Sowell Sadler. What's this? What do you mean, what's this? Watch. What's this? You'll watch. You'll figure it out. Let's go over. What's this? Let's go over to YouTube. Tanya Love 17, Bless Monday, squad, Team Westman, saying hi, Brad, squad up. Fahad Siddiqui, what's up, Brad? How are you guys? Great to see the show back. And 29 Super C with an initial question. Wow. What evidence is needed to apply for a national interest exemption for an immigrant EB-3 visa interview at the U.S. Embassy? So you have to show, I assume, I kind of know a little bit about what's going on with 29 Super C. If I recall, and you don't mind me talking about you already asked the question. So he's in Trinidad. He got sponsored in a job, or maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but I did. Whoops. And he's waiting on a immigrant visa. If you want to show, and I apologize if I said anything I shouldn't have, 29 Super C. But if you want to be able to show a national interest to come to the United States quicker, you actually have to show your employment's in the national interest. How will your employment benefit the national interest? Not benefit your company, not benefit you personally, not benefit a local area, but the entire United States of America. And that's on a case-by-case basis. So you're asking me what evidence? We got to figure out how you being in the U.S. is in the national interest. With that being said, and by the way, 29 Super C, thank you, says LOL, no problem. With that being said, with that being said, Yo-Yo, why don't you take it away?
Yes, absolutely. All right, squad, you already know what time it is. I need you guys to please share because we're about to start schmoozing with Brad, talking headlines and immigration news, including, of course, you already know, we just said what Governor Cuomo said about the CDC and not having to wear masks. So check it out.
And it's Fuzzy Monday, so we get to start our week with some feel-good animal stories to warm your heart for your week.
was that Groundhog Sam in that picture? And also, yeah. I don't think he's an animal; he's a puppet. But also, you could also call our telephone number to Spar and Bernstein 1-800-529-5465. If you call right now, we have 7 lines still open to take your calls. We take a total of 14. We have 7 on hold, 7 still open. The first 14 people to call go live on our show. The telephone number to call is 1-800-529-5465. Outside of the United States, it's +1 212-227-8933. You may have seen Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with my head on his body because that is not my body. That's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's body, perhaps my head, carrying a sign saying, call this number and ask me a question. By the way, Fahid Siddiqui, he retracted his message. He just said, thank you so much. All right, but I was going to say something else, but he retracted his message. But okay, never mind then. And later in the show, I am going to speak with Armenian American artist and activist Rima Makarian about her work as the executive director of the public art Monarch and SCAPE Projects in Sonoma County, California, and her project titled The Forgotten Faces of Artsakh, in which she documented Artsakh, excuse me, my apologies, Artsakh, in which she documented the plight of Armenian refugees displaced. It's not funny. The Armenian refugees displaced after the 2020 war. The only reason I knew I was going to screw that up. Artsakh, in which she documented the plight of Armenian refugees displaced after the 2020 war. Meanwhile, we got to do some schmoozing with Brad, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's get into it.
Oh my God! I looked at that Artsakh. You know how many times I screwed up that name? Ugh.
All good.
All good. Meanwhile, on Friday, the top Democrat and Republicans on the House Homeland Security Committee struck a deal to create a bipartisan commission to investigate the January 6th attack on the Capitol. House Homeland Security Chairman Bernie Thompson of Mississippi and the panel's ranking Republican, Representative John Katko of New York, announced the panel that would be modeled after the September 11th commission. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi sent a letter to lawmakers on Friday that the House would vote on the legislation creating the commission this week, as well as $2 billion supplemental funding bill to bolster the security of the Capitol. Now, the deal represents a significant bipartisan breakthrough on a proposal stalled for months since Pelosi first proposed the commission to investigate the deadly January 6th insurrection. Now, Representative Katko said in a statement that the Capitol remains a target of extremists of all ideologies. It was not completely clear, however, whether House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy, who has been fighting Pelosi over the commission because he's in Donald Trump's pocket, would sign off on the deal. But the Democrats control the House of Representatives, so they know that they're going to be able to pass this. They only need 10 Republicans to support the bill in the Senate. They believe they're going to get that as well. So we will get an independent commission on what happened with the insurrection on January 6th. They are expected to release a report by year end. Now, last Wednesday, Attorney General Merrick Garland and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told senators that the greatest domestic threat facing the United States came from what they both called racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists. Garland told the Senate Appropriations Committee, quote, specifically those who advocate for the superiority of the white race. So, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, the biggest threat according to our Department of Homeland Security and according to our Department of Justice, who are the two biggest departments that deal with law enforcement in the United States of America, it is not terrorists running across the border from Mexico. It is not terrorists coming from Muslim-dominated countries where we had to have a Muslim ban to protect ourselves. The greatest threat to our democracy, the greatest threat to our security, according to both the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice, is homegrown terrorism by white supremacists.
Wow. Let's talk about it.
Huh? Meanwhile,
I feel like we mentioned this.
I'm surprised they admit to it.
They did. They did admit to it. It's the truth.
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Well, we all knew this was the truth, though, because every single time there's a shooting at a mall, a shooting at a school, a shooting at Vegas. We always say, like, we always are like, the first thing we always say is like, oh, is it a terrorist? Is it a Muslim terrorist?
Okay,
because
right.
that's what they always, right?
Yes,
that's the first thing we always ask. And it never, it usually is.
It's usually just a deranged person who should never have had a gun in the first place. But But in terms of domestic terrorism, still our biggest threat is homegrown white supremacists. That doesn't mean it's the only terrorist threat we have, but it is the biggest terrorist threat we have, ahead of terrorists running across the border from Mexico. Muslims, who we completely banned half the world from coming to the United States for years. We spent $5 billion on a wall to protect us from terrorists, and the terrorists are sitting right here, right in front of our nose. Right in front of our nose.
Yes. So that's why I'm saying I'm surprised they actually admitted to it. So I'm happy that this is actual news.
Well, now, let's not forget in 2017 when Donald Trump, when there was a clash of white supremacists and protesters against white supremacy in Charlottesville, Virginia, right after Trump became president. His presidency allowed people who, not to say that he caused white supremacy, because it was always there, but it was always in somebody's basement, very quiet, not bothering anybody, and it allowed them to have a mouthpiece, because Donald Trump allowed it, and allowed them to become more vocal and scary to everybody else. And of course, we'll never forget what Donald Trump said at this, for lack of a better word, white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, where Donald Trump commented after the fact, there were very fine people on both sides. Meanwhile, Garland and Mayorkas also testified before the Appropriations Committee that former members of the Trump administration told the House Oversight Committee that Trump's false claims to have won the 2020 election fueled additional domestic terrorism. You will remember House Republicans ousted Representative Liz Cheney last week of Wyoming from her leadership position for publicly pushing back on Donald Trump's claims that the election was stolen from him. Well, on Friday, Elise Stefanik replaced Liz Cheney as House Republicans' third-ranked leader in a 134-46 secret ballot. The 36-year-old New Yorker is known as a moderate, but has turned pro-Trump, and she used her pro-Trump stance to now become the third leading Republican in the House of Representatives. So it pays as a politician, at least at the moment, it pays to be a supporter of Donald Trump. It pays to continue this lie that the election was stolen from him. This lie, which is perpetuated by the Republicans, by Fox News, by some of the other right-wing newscasts, have caused, according to the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice, an increase in white supremacy and ultra-white terrorism.
And you had said that too, right? Like when we were everybody was voting for whether they were going to stay on Trump's side or not. And I kept on saying, like, how could these Republicans actually still stay on his side, like knowing damn well, like all the evil things that he's done? You were like, no, this is to protect their jobs. They still have to protect their jobs. That's wild.
That's right. And until there comes a time when Donald Trump doesn't get you elected. And by the way, maybe it's going to be 2022. We don't know, because it's only about a third. Oh, that's a weird noise. It's only about a third of thank you. It's only about a third of Republicans. I mean, a third of America who supports Donald Trump. But though that 1/3 of America that supports Donald Trump are basically the Republicans who will go out and vote in a primary election. So the key for a Republican is to be pro-Trump in order to get past the primary, and then jump to the center and not be so pro-Trump after, to get moderates to vote them into office. It'll be a tricky thing for Republicans to do in 2022. Because you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Politics. It's a game.
It's politics. It's a game.
I was just gonna say, all positioning.
Yeah. Now, if after 2022, you go pro-Trump as a Republican, but then you're not able to shift enough to be able to convince more moderate conservatives and independents to vote for you, because remember, you still need to get 50% of the vote to win.
Exactly. Right.
If that's going to be the case, then it's very possible that now Donald Trump starts to lose power. The thing you got to remember about it all is gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is that, all different congressional districts are gerrymandered, meaning that they make a weird district where most of the people in the district are conservative, or most of the people in the district are very liberal. So the theory being that if you could win the Republican primary, there's enough Republicans in your district that you're going to win. It's going to be the districts that go back and forth between Democrat and Republican. It's probably 20 or 30 in total, where it's not a solid bet Republican, a solid bet Democrat. That's what's going to decide the House of Representatives.
Gotcha.
And we'll see how these Republicans do, because you have to attach yourself to Trump to get the primary election win, and then you got to detach yourself in order to get the general election win.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, but that's what's going to happen.
It's all positioning.
Yes. Yeah. Now,
and it's convenient.
Now let's get to coronavirus. According to our friends at Johns Hopkins University, there are now over 161 million new coronavirus cases worldwide. In the United States, almost 33 million people have been diagnosed with COVID-19. Now, here's the update. Retailers started announcing changes to their mask requirements. You can go into Trader Joe's, Walmart, Sam's Club, Costco, Publix without a mask, as long as you are vaccinated. Now, how in the world will anyone know if you're vaccinated or not? There will be absolutely nobody at the doors of any of these businesses asking for proof you're vaccinated.
What?
Yeah, how are they going? They can't start saying, give me proof you're vaccinated. Give me your blood test.
To show your card.
What card? You're going to walk around with a card?
Vaccination.
No one's going to ask you that. They're just going to say, are you vaccinated? Yes, no, and you walk in. That's what it's going to be. God.
So how's that? Okay.
You're not going to need to show proof of a health certificate. Okay? And even the head of the CDC said everyone's is on their best behavior. We just expect people to tell the truth. So basically, it's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, many other retailers, including Apple, Target, CVS, and Walgreens, still say they're evaluating. Other law firms like Spar and Bernstein also still evaluating. We're trying to figure it out ourselves. Now, Starbucks updated its policy today, making masks optional for vaccinated customers unless local regulations require the mask by law. So, for example, here in New York, if you go into a Starbucks today and tomorrow, you need a mask. Wednesday morning, masks are no longer optional here in New York, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. I believe, Vanessa, in Florida, masks have never been mandatory.
Right.
What's a mask?
Right, right. They're mandatory through Tuesday, Wednesday they're optional. If I got it backwards, right. Now, Cuomo, as I said, announced that New York State's going to end mask mandates and adopt CDC guidelines. Cuomo said following the CDC guidance, immunocompromised people and unvaccinated people should still wear a mask. So basically, the bottom line is this, okay? People who want to wear masks can wear masks. People who don't want to wear masks don't have to wear masks. If you are vaccinated and you're not wearing a mask, and God forbid you get COVID, you're not going to die. And if God forbid you do die, you will be the first person that has been documented to die from COVID after you had a vaccine. So if the idea, this is the whole idea behind removing masks, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. If the idea, and this is what people have to get their head around, if the idea is that you're wearing a mask because you yourself don't want to die of COVID and you are also a good citizen and don't want to infect somebody else who may be compromised, health-wise from, if they get COVID from dying, then that's what we have been doing for the last year. We have been wearing masks. We have been quarantining for 1 year and change already to try to save the lives of many of our neighbors, friends, and relatives. Assuming we believe the science, and at this point we have to believe the science, that there is, as far as I'm aware, no documented case of a person who had the vaccine and then ultimately died of COVID. There are many cases of people who had the vaccine and got COVID anyway and did not die. So if the idea of wearing a mask is we're preventing deaths, then if you are vaccinated, you don't have to worry unless something changes in the science or unless there becomes a new strain that is not, protected by the vaccines that we're taking right now. You don't have to worry that, God forbid, you get sick, you will die. You may get sick from COVID. It may even be pretty bad. But there is no recorded case of anybody vaccinated who then ultimately, after the vaccination, got COVID and died. So if the idea is we don't want people to die, you're vaccinated, you won't die, which is why I believe the CDC is saying if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. If you're walking around and you refuse to get vaccinated and you don't wear a mask, then, it's on you. If you are immune compromised, you're elderly, you're still concerned about getting COVID, then by all means you should wear a mask. No one's saying not to. It's just optional right now. You get it?
Yeah.
Now,
So wait, are you going to be wearing your mask out?
me personally, unless I will wear my mask near my family because they are going to request me to do so. But outside, I will not be wearing a mask. When I am alone, I will not be wearing a mask. When I walk into a store, I won't wear a mask. But then again, I'm vaccinated, and I just had COVID 6 weeks ago. So I'm I'm pretty confident.
Right.
I'm okay.
Right. Do you feel like, with this now, people are going to be looking at other people weird, like, oh, why aren't you wearing a mask? And, oh, why are you wearing a mask? So, do you feel like this is going to cause some kind of conflict?
It will only cause
who don't want to?
To me, it only causes a conflict if you're not vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, you shouldn't have to worry whether somebody's wearing a mask or not, because you have to have faith and confidence in the science that the vaccine's going to work. Meaning that, you may get a cold. You may get sick and be in bed for days. You may even have a fever. But you're not going to die from this. You got to have faith in that. You got to have faith in that.
I have faith in science. I just don't have faith in humans out there. I just don't have faith. I don't trust the people out there.
You don't trust the science out there. And Jill's telling me something in my ear. Jill has an argument in my ear. I didn't hear Jill's argument. What was your argument, Jill?
I said, for me, I trust the science. I just don't trust the people out there to say, to tell us the truth that they got vaccinated. That's just.
Now, meanwhile, Jill told me that the National Nurses United, the nation's largest nurses union, they've condemned this new guidance. So, the nurses union saying no go on this, no dice on this. I'm quoting the executive director, Bonnie Castillo. She said, the newest CDC guidance is not based on science and does not protect public health. And now is not the time to relax protective measures. And we are outraged that the CDC has done just that while we are still in the midst of the deadliest pandemic in a century. Now, that's what they say. The union noted that more than 35,000 new cases are tallied daily in the United States, and that fears linger over the spread of highly contagious variants. Again, nobody's saying COVID doesn't exist. I don't think anybody has come out and said, if you have a vaccine, you're going to die. So my position is, you may get sick, but you're not going to die. Now, the nurses union, they have their own personal thing. They don't want more people coming into the hospital. They want less work, not more. So not to say people won't get sick, not to say people won't go to the hospitals. But again, my opinion, and this is just me, and I'm not a doctor, and I'm not the head of the CDC. But from what I understand, nobody dies if you have the vaccine. And if our only goal is to prevent death, then you have a vaccine, you shouldn't need to wear a mask.
All right.
But that's my opinion. Let's get to Fuzzy Monday.
Let's do it.
All right, the demonic chihuahua has finally found a new home with a Connecticut woman. Yes, a demonic chihuahua. Prancer, the 2-year-old chihuahua who went viral after his New Jersey foster parent described what to expect from the demonic pooch, has finally been adopted. Ariel Davis, 36, of New Haven, told NBC's Today that she related to Prancer, Plight, when she came across Tiffany Fortuna's hilarious description of the small dog on Facebook. Earlier this month, Fortuna wrote on Facebook that she had tried for months to make the pup sound palatable to potential adopters. She wrote, the problem is, he's just not. There's not a very big market for a neurotic, man-hating, animal-hating, children-hating dog that looks like a gremlin. But I have to believe there's someone out there for Prancer. And finally, Prancer has found a new home. Now, Fortuna said she was convinced at this point he's not a real dog, but more like a vessel for a traumatized Victorian child that now haunts our home, and described him as Chucky the doll. Would you adopt any dog that has been described as Chucky the doll?
No. First of all, I don't even like Chihuahuas, so right.
Now, I don't know. I wish the best of luck to Ariel Davis. I would not be adopting Chucky, the demonic dog.
Everybody needs love. Everyone deserves love.
Even a demonic dog.
Not for me, though.
Meanwhile, the cat who saved an elderly man has now become a police chief for the day, and she hates her job. Apparently, Coco Chan, a cat who helped save an elderly man's life last year after she alerted authorities that he had fallen in a ditch and aided for his rescue, received an honorary award from the police in Toyama, Japan. But she doesn't want any part of being the ceremonial chief. Now, she was anointed chief on April 13th, but Coco Chan acted as the head of the Department of Traffic Safety on the she acted as the head of the Department of Traffic Safety on the day of Japan's Spring Traffic Safety Campaign. She attended a presentation about traffic safety with a group of elementary students wearing a police officer uniform, complete with a little tiny hat. Now, her take on the human ceremony, she was not pleased at all by the looks of it, and she looked really, really bored. The ceremony, however, has melted many a heart. Some were amazed at Coco's patience during the ceremony. Johnny Septama tweeted, "Coco, I will never save another human being again." Now, Chris, who is great, wrote, "I cannot believe that Coco sat through that entire thing." And someone also wondered, did they inject any sedative into Coco to make sure it behaves during the whole process? While one user is now anticipating a Netflix adaptation, can't wait for the animal adaptation. So Coco, bored as you know what, being the police chief.
That's hilarious.
Meanwhile, Doris the tortoise has found a home in Staten Island after escaping from a home in Brooklyn. A 10-day journey has a happy ending for Doris, the lost tortoise. Doris is now back at home in the arms of her family, the Torreses of Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. She's been part of this family for 22 years. Doris's owner, Laura Torres, said, "We got Doris before even my husband and I got married, 22 years now. We have 2 children. They've always lived with Doris, the tortoise, and it's been part of our family forever." Now, the beloved pet reptile managed to escape from the Torres' home on April 21st when someone left the backyard gate open by mistake, and the tortoise escaped. Doris's escape began a massive community search that even got support from the local politician, New York City Councilman Justin Brannan. Laura said, quote, "It's been like amazing. Everybody knows about this tortoise. I walk out and people are looking, children are looking, people are looking, their dogs are even looking. They're searching the yards, their front yards. Everyone's looking for this turtle." She even got help from this congressperson. Now we got Justin, she quote, "We got Justin Brayman, we got, I'm sorry, I'm getting the quote wrong. We got from Justin Brayman, we got, he kind of picked up the information and also put them on his Facebook page, which we appreciated greatly." Now she's an African leopard tortoise, and now Google mapped how far it is from Doris's home, close to 94th Street in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, to Staten Island, 21.5 miles. Nobody knows how Doris got there.
Wait, how the heck did it, did it swim? Did it get on a ferry?
I don't know how it got to Staten Island.
How far could it get?
I don't know.
Like, how far could a tortoise
Well,
get?
maybe it did swim. Tortoises do swim, so it's possible it went swimming. Possible it went in the water and then took a swim over to Staten Island. I don't know. I mean, I've swam with the turtles before. Have you ever gone snorkeling and seen the turtles? They swim.
No, I have, but the fact that it that much land and then over the water, it's just like, wait.
All right, so I have 2 stories left, Vanessa. We have time for one more. Bottom, top, bottom, right hand, left hand.
We're at the top. Only way up. Up.
All right, I stopped. Top or bottom?
There. Top.
Top. Okay. The top one is, on April 23rd, a large bunny named the majestic Alex the Great was spotted in the crowd soaking up the atmosphere at San Francisco Giants home game against the Miami Marlins. It's obviously a baseball game for those who don't know. The therapy bunny, who is just over 4 months old, came with its owner, Cato, and Josh Rowe to his first Giants game. Cato got Alex when he was just 1 month old. Now Alex has caught everyone's attention, including the official scorer, David Feldman, who announced in the 7th inning, "Tonight's attendance is 4,580 people, not including the rabbit." And one commenter on Alex's Instagram, because of course he has his own dedicated Instagram, suggested that he be adopted as the new Giants mascot, given their 3-0 win over the Marlins, with Alex the bunny in the stands. Now, he's already been to a NASCAR event at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, hit the water with kayaking, and even visits the beach. And that is Alex the bunny. There he is at NASCAR.
Oh, he's so cute.
And that is our Fuzzy Monday stories for the day. Yo, and Vanessa, we got to get into immigration. In today's Braducation, I talk about the first very important thing you should do if you're injured on the job in a construction site. We're also talking about accidents today. Let's watch. My goal is straightforward: to make the law usable and easy to understand for everyone. All of us in the United States have equal rights and should have an equal opportunity and a right to justice. I'm here to help because I want everybody to achieve their American dream. I'm Brad Bernstein, and this is your Litigation Braducation. I'm not here to tell you what you want to know. I'm here to tell you what you need to know. Construction accident law is different in each state and is very complex. My objective is to make the law easy for you to understand so that you can use the justice system to your advantage if you or your loved one is ever hurt in a construction accident. Now, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there are more than 150,000 serious construction site accident injuries each year in the United States. That's enough to fill 2 NFL football stadiums. And in fact, the Liberty Mutual Workplace Safety Index recently reported that United States companies have paid out more than $62 billion for workplace injuries in only 1 year. That is more than $1 billion per week. And the annual cost to United States business of lost time workplace injuries is greater than the gross domestic product of 91 countries, according to data from the World Monetary Fund. So this is really important to know because there is big money on the line if you get injured. And you want the money in your pocket and your loved one's pocket and not in the pocket of some fat cat at the insurance company. So listen up, because some things are universal no matter what state you're injured in. Now, most worksite injuries fall under workers' compensation and prevent you from filing a civil action for your personal injuries. But in New York and in many other states, if you get injured on a construction site, you can obtain workers' compensation and also file a lawsuit for your pain and suffering, your lost earnings, and all past and future medical bills. So if you fall, something falls on you, you're injured on the construction site, these are the things you must do to make sure you put yourself in the best legal position to ensure your highest money settlement. Number 1, stay where you are and call an ambulance. Do not have your employer or coworker drive you to the hospital, because then there is no record that you were injured at a construction site. The insurance company could say the accident never occurred where you claim it did. And this is particularly true if you are undocumented or get paid in cash. Then it is even worse for you, because if you are paid off the books, there are no payroll records that you even worked for this company. So stay where you are. Everyone has a cell phone. Call 911. An ambulance is the quickest way to get you to the hospital. It is the quickest way to get medical treatment. And the ambulance documents that you were picked up from the job site and you were therefore injured on the job site. Now there is no question where the accident happened. And you can watch this Braducation more in full by following Braducations on OnlyFans. That's OF.TV. Now, I'm going to be answering your immigration questions right now, and something we like to call You Got a Question? I've got an answer for you. All right, let's go to Peter in Tacoma, Washington. Peter.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm so good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Yeah, first I want to thank you for what you're doing. It's being a blessing to us.
Thank you. My pleasure. What's going on?
Yeah, I am a Armenian alien in 2015, and I applied for asylum. Then I get married, and my I-1 through is approved, but still my lawyer said I had to go to my country before getting a visa.
Well, what you used the term arriving alien, so obviously you've done a little research. An arriving alien can adjust their status here, even if you applied for asylum. So that's not correct, as long as you are in fact an arriving alien.
Yeah, but my lawyer still don't know that. Can apply
I don't know what your lawyer knows and what your lawyer doesn't know. If you are an arriving alien, you're allowed to adjust your status. If you are inspected and then applied for asylum, then perhaps you can't. If you enter, well, no, you would still be able to because you were inspected. If you entered without inspection, then that would be a different story. So really the first step would be that you would need to hire a new lawyer who may know the law better than your other lawyer, review your records, and then give you a second opinion.
Okay, thank you. But the second question is that I checked online. I found out that arrival alien not supposed to get a bond, but they're giving me a bond. So is that the case?
I would have to review your records and see.
Okay.
Hold on one second, okay?
Okay.
Let's go to Abby in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Abby.
Yes, sir. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. How are you?
Good, good. Yeah. I have a tuition for I filed for M400 2020, April 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I received it for receipt and everything.
You received what?
Receipt.
You have a receipt. All right, so you applied for naturalization, you have a receipt. And what is your question?
Yeah, still I didn't have a biometric.
You're not going to get one most likely because of COVID. They're probably using your old biometric that you have from your green card.
Yeah, when I enter for app that saying for a USCIS, and they say we'll attend the biometric still.
I didn't hear what you said. Say it again.
When I enter for a USCIS application for our internet, I saw in my system.
I'm not interested in what you see on the internet. I've just told you your answer. If immigration already has your biometrics from your green card, which I'm sure they do, unless for somehow it got corrupted, they're going to use your old biometrics and not schedule you again. They're trying to avoid people having to come in a second time because of COVID.
Okay.
All right, hang in there. You're fine.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go to Elaine in the Bronx. Elaine.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I have a question.
Yes.
I'm calling on behalf of American citizen, a gentleman. He filed for his stepson. That was in Jamaica, and the child turned 21. But the child is in the U.S. now and overstay a visa. Can he adjust his status here?
Was the I-130 filed before he turned 21?
Yes.
And you have an approved I-130?
Yes. It's at the visa center.
Okay, fine. And the child's here in the U.S. now?
Yes.
How did the child come here to the U.S.?
He came on a visitor's visa.
The answer is you could adjust because under the Child Status Protection Act, that child's age is frozen on the time the application is filed, provided the I-130 got approved. So in this particular case, as long as it was filed before the child turned 21 and got approved, that child's age is frozen on the date the application got filed. That child's an immediate relative. That child can adjust. Now, child status protection laws are different depending on a case. That is this particular case. I don't want everyone to say, oh my God, now that applies to me too. It may not. But in your particular case, it does.
And for the child, does they need to file a different form? Or
no, it's going to file.
What form they need to file?
Yes, but what I would suggest is have a lawyer because it doesn't seem like you're 100% confident in what you're doing. You don't want to screw this kid up and get the kid deported. But the answer is the child can adjust. The child will get a work permit in about 4 to 5 months and get a green card in less than a year.
Okay.
Hold on one second.
All right.
Let's go to Hussein in Queens. Hussein.
Hello.
Hi, Hussein. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
This is Hussein. I'm calling from Queens.
Yes.
I have a long question to you.
All right. Try to make it short.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I applied for my U.S. citizenship like a month ago, right? So my wife bring me in this country. It's about 2 years applied, right? So actually, my wife and I had some issue. Then we both called. I went to the police station. I make a complaint against her, 2018. And then after a couple of days, she hit herself and then called the police. And
Did you get arrested? You got arrested?
both-
Were you
we
convicted?
both-
I'm not interested in what happened to her. I'm interested in you because you're the one who needs the citizenship, not your wife.
We both got
What?
arrested.
One second. Were you convicted of a crime?
No.
The case was dropped against you.
Yeah, the case was dropped.
Okay, so your question to me is what now?
My question is, I applied for the citizen based on my wife, right?
Right.
So is there any problem for
Are
me
you and
getting
your
a
wife
citizenship?
together today?
Yes.
So you had a bad night.
Yeah.
Okay. The answer is you should be able to become a citizen. You got arrested once. The case was dismissed. You and your wife are still together in a bona fide marriage. It happens. You're entitled to a bad day. Nobody says you have to be the patron saint of all patron saints for your entire life to become a citizen. You'll be fine.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right.
Wonderful.
All right.
Good
Good
day,
luck.
sir.
Okay. Let's go to Gimps in Bandera, Texas. Gimps.
Yes, sir.
What's up?
Mr. Brad.
Yes.
I got a few questions for you.
Go ahead.
The first one is going to be, I applied for citizenship through my wife, right?
Where you from?
And
where you from?
They asked me to
Gimps.
come. Yes, sir.
Where you from?
I'm from Haiti.
Okay. And they asked you what?
They asked me to send selective service to bring to the interview, but I didn't know if I had to do it. And then when I adjust my status here, I was already 28. So, and I read something saying that.
How old are you now?
I'm 32.
Okay, so you don't have to bring anything anymore because it's after the fact. So you were in the United States at some point in time. Let me tell you about selective service for me.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
When you are 17 years old, you have to apply, or 18 years old, you have to apply for, I forgot if it's 17 or 18, either one, you got to apply for the selective service. And you're not saying I'm enrolling in the U.S. military. What you're doing is you're giving the U.S. military your information in case there is a draft in the future. Now, basically, everybody in public high school is told to go do it by their high school. That's how I learned how to do it, and that's why I did it when I was 17 years old. Now, if you don't go to high school here, you're never told to do it. Nobody ever tells you to do it. Now, you get a green card when you're 21, 22, 23 years old, especially if you adjust your status or get it even at the U.S. Embassy abroad. No one ever tells you got to go apply for selective service. So what the law says is if you were told to apply for the selective service and you never did it, well, then that's a problem. But if you were never told to do it and you didn't know anything about it, it's not a problem. Now, you have to do it by age 26. You only got your green card at 28, so I was just giving you a full analysis. But at 28, you was past the point of you being eligible to apply for selective service. So the fact that you got your green card after the age of 26, you couldn't do it beforehand, you're fine.
Okay.
If you got your green card, I just want for those out there, let's assume you got your green card when you were 23 or 24, then you would have to go and testify, I didn't know I had to do it. Nobody ever told me. I never signed anything that I knew I had to do it, that type of thing. But you got it at 28, so you're fine.
Okay. Another thing, Mr. Brad, and I saw a paperwork that it's from USCIS, and it says if you 21 or 31 or over 31, you don't have, even if you knew that you had to do selective service.
That is correct.
That is correct. You don't have.
That is correct. That is correct.
It's not going to go against you.
That is correct.
Okay. And my next question is, my interview papers that didn't say anything about bringing my wife to the interview.
You don't have to. You don't have to bring your wife. Just have to bring proof that you and her are in a bona fide marriage, which is joint tax returns, bank statements showing activity, and bills addressed to the both of you at your marital address, and whatever proof you have that you live together.
Okay. My last question is, do I have to bring it didn't say that in my interview because they gave me a list of documents to bring.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to bring my passport picture because I didn't go do fingerprint because I already had my fingerprint taken when I did my when I reapplied.
Unless they specifically on that particular letter said bring passport photos, you don't have to do it.
Okay.
All right. I'm not looking at your letter for your interview, but unless there specifically says it, don't bother. You're just wasting your money.
And also, it didn't say anything about bringing proof of my bona fide marriage.
You bring proof. Yes, that you must do.
So even if it doesn't say,
even if it doesn't, you better show up with proof that you're in a bona fide marriage. Because you're basing. Let me ask you a question, or maybe I'm misunderstanding. You're basing your citizenship on 3 years of a bona fide marriage, right?
Correct.
Yes, bring proof that you're living with your wife.
And those proof can be
proof is joint tax returns.
Yes,
Starts
sir.
with joint tax. You don't have a joint tax return, you're not passing. Joint tax returns, bank statements with activity, bills addressed to the both of you at your marital address, pictures of you and your wife together, and whatever evidence you have that you live at that residence.
Okay. And Mr. Brad, I got another question. My wife applied for my kids in 2018. That's when she filed the I-130 and got approved about 9 months later. And that kids was transferred to the National Visa Center. And then I did all the paperwork, all the documentarily qualified the National Visa Center. And I did ask for an expedite request to the embassy. They granted the expedite request. And they went to the interview on March 2020. And COVID hit. The paper they asked to send, I sent it right away, which was one paper. And since then, I never heard anything from them.
Well,
you think that's...
I don't think that's normal. They should schedule your kids now that, maybe because in Haiti, COVID may still be bad. I don't know if the embassy is open there or not, but your kids are entitled to get their green cards. And there's somebody at that embassy. So if you still haven't heard anything and it's a year later, you've been waiting for your children since 2018, maybe you want us to get involved and make a call for you.
And can you help me with that?
Yes.
Maybe I can do something, not like suing them.
No, not sue them. It's literally a telephone call. I'm not going to sue them. We're going to call the embassy and see what we can do. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's go to David in Cincinnati.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Brian.
What's going on?
Yeah. I got the question. I came to the United States 2016, and I got my 2 years green card 2017. And 3 months before the expiration of the 2 years green card, I applied for 10 years green card. That is I-175.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I-751.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So after a month, they sent 18-month extension to me. And that 18-month extension, 2 weeks before expiration, they called me for interview and my wife, and we are happily married. So I went to Cincinnati, and the interview was, okay. The officer told me that, I should be expecting my 10 years green card in 2 weeks' time then. So, but my driver license, because I got CDL.
What is your question?
So my question is that now, since then,
So you haven't heard anything since your interview in 2019?
Since October last year. No,
October of last year. You and your wife are together. It's a real marriage.
Yes, remarried.
You have
happily married.
Children?
My children came from my country.
Okay.
After my wedding.
So you have two choices. One, you can file for your citizenship. Two, we can file a mandamus or threat of a mandamus to finish up your case. Or both.
I filed in N400.
You did.
After my interview.
Right.
And now, since almost February. So I've not heard anything. And I went to, I called USCIS local office.
You filed the N400 when?
February
of 20. All right, so you're not going to get an interview till the end of the year. So mandamus is now out because you filed an N400. Just wait till the end of the year. They're going to schedule you for an interview for your citizenship. Hopefully at your citizenship interview, both will be approved. If you still haven't heard by the end of the year, call me in January. All right?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Let's go to Frank in Hanover Park, Illinois.
Hi,
Frank.
Brad. How are you?
How are you?
Good. Everything's good. Just wanted to say thank you very much for all the work you do.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And I just want to let you know that 2020, and I took your applying for the N400.
Uh-huh.
And not last year.
I didn't hear what you said, Frank. Say it again.
I took your advice back in January 2020.
Oh, great. What was my advice? Can you remind me? I don't know what my advice was back in January.
What happened was you told me to apply based on the 3 years marriage.
Right.
Married to a U.S. citizen, and I had a misdemeanor back in 2015.
Oh, I understand.
So,
you were concerned about good moral character and if you were going to get
That's
deported,
correct.
and I said, nope, go ahead, go for it. And what happened?
Yeah.
I hope you're calling me from the United States.
I passed my test.
Okay.
I passed my test.
Yeah.
And I'm a U.S. citizen.
Oh, congratulations. All right, very good. I'm like, I got scared for a second. I said, are you calling me from another country or are you're here? So I'm glad you're here. Congratulations. You followed my advice and it all worked out. I appreciate it and thank you for calling.
Yes. Thank you very much. But that's why I really wanted to call you and let you know and say a special thanks to you and the team and everything.
My pleasure.
I remember.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I contacted a couple of attorneys and they told me that you have to wait 5 years, but that wasn't the case.
That's
because
not the case.
Still, I have like 2, and I got all the proof and everything. I had taxes and everything, and thank God nothing was asked and passed my test and. Thank God.
Well, congratulations. 2 things.
Thank you.
Apparently, Uncle Brad knows what he's talking about, and spread the word to everybody. And thank you for calling.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I just want to say thank you and shout out. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Brad.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that's very good. Brian in Seattle. Brian.
Hey, how you doing? I'm calling because I'm really confused.
Okay.
I don't know really what to do. My mom got deported in 2003.
Why?
And because it was conspiracy of 100 grams of heroin.
Oh gosh. Okay.
But it was apparently I didn't know I was a kid. She told me that it was another person that had it. So long story short, pretty much I'm just trying to get a pardon for her to come back. I don't know if me being in the military is going to help the situation or anything.
Well, let me put it to you bluntly. If you are deported for conspiracy to distribute 100 whatever of heroin, whether it's 10 pounds, grams, whatever it is, that's drug trafficking. And as sadly as it is, and maybe it was a one-time, mistake by your mother, and she's paid the price dearly, but in terms of confusion, it's straightforward. A drug trafficking offense bars you from ever coming back to the United States again, even if she gets a pardon, because what the law says is if you were a past, present, or suspected future drug trafficker, even without a conviction, that bars you from entering the United States. So even if she gets a pardon, just the fact pattern alone, unfortunately, prevents her, even though you're in the military.
Yeah, so there's no way for her to even
It is a big. It's a big dam. It's a big dam. And there's no way. So I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so there's no reason to even try to pursue
no
it.
Reason. At this point, no. And the only thing we look at in terms of pursuing it, when people call me with this situation, is we look at 2 things, which is like needle in a haystack. One is, was her deportation appropriate and done properly? Was her rights violated? Is there a way we can bring her back to have a new deportation hearing because something was done wrong? That's one thing we look at. 2 is, did they deport a U.S. citizen? A lot of times people don't realize they're U.S. citizens because they got green cards when they were minors and their parents were citizens. Those are the 2 things.
She only got a residency when
So
when it was about to happen, she just got a residency.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling you, and realistically, those are the 2 things we look at when you're dealing with somebody who got deported for drug trafficking. Other than that, she's not coming back, sadly.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Okay. Let's go to Nancy in Atlanta. Nancy. Nancy. Nancy in
Hello.
Atlanta, how are you?
Hi, Uncle Brad. I just want to ask a question.
Yeah.
I applied for 130 and 485 family days in November 2019, and it's been 1 year and some months now, almost 6 months, and I've not been scheduled for an interview. The last thing I got stuck on was...
Who's sponsoring you? Your husband?
Yes.
Okay, and did you file an adjustment application with it?
Yes. We filed everything together.
Okay, and this was filed when?
November 2019.
And since November 2019, did immigration ever write you back saying you're missing evidence, or you?
Yeah, they did.
What did they?
Death certificates, and the last thing I got stuck on was RFU received.
Okay,
that was
when was that?
January 2020.
Okay, so number one, because you were missing evidence, your adjustment application is not considered filed till January 2020, not back in 2019. So that's when it was considered filed. Did you get your work permit?
Yeah, I got my work permit, and I.
All right. So what
Each time I call USCIS or just send the service request, they said it's a pending background check.
Yeah, they're just full of it. They got slowed down because of COVID. They got slowed down because of cutbacks at USCIS. Atlanta is notoriously bad with immigration to begin with. So your application was filed for all intents and purposes in January 2020. We're now in May of 2021. Is that too long? Yeah. What are our choices? Well, you can wait. You can keep calling. That doesn't seem to do anything. Or you can threaten to file a mandamus. It's been more than a year, so certainly we can do that. And we've been very successful with threats of mandamus without even actually having to file one in federal court. And hopefully that does the trick. So if you're interested, hold on 1 second. Let's go to Allison in Houston. Allison.
Hi, Mr. Brad.
Hi, how are
you doing?
Good.
So I have two questions. One, I came here and got married in 2016. However, in 2017, when I tried to file my paperwork, one of my husband's paper came back as incomplete, the divorce decree. He later on divorced that person. So does that make our marriage valid?
No, because he was never free to marry you, apparently, when you got married. His divorce was not valid, so he was still married to wife number one. So whatever marriage between you and him was void from the beginning. Now, he ultimately divorced wife number one. You have to remarry him. You don't have to divorce him yourself. You just have to remarry him now.
So basically, we're not together. So it's on the system. It's on record that we are married on the system. So I was speaking to a lawyer, and he told me that I had to do a divorce.
No.
Is that
no?
So?
No. What I would do, because you would like to have a record in your hand that you are not married to this man. Okay? Under the law, you have a void marriage. Okay? But you got to be able, if you go around, let's say you want to marry your next husband down the line.
Yeah.
You have to prove that you were free to marry this man. Now, you can do it one of two ways. You can say, well, here's the marriage certificate to my husband, and here's proof that he was never divorced, and therefore it's a void marriage. And you got to give all these documentation, let somebody come to the conclusion that you were never free to marry this man. Let me finish. What to me is a lot easier is what you want is an annulment. You want a local judge to say that your marriage is void. So you could just have a piece of paper that you could walk around with and say, void marriage, I was never married to this man.
So I really need your help.
That would be that would be an annulment. I cannot do an annulment in Texas. I'm a New York lawyer. I can do immigration in Texas. But what you need is you need to go to a local lawyer in Texas and say, I don't want to, you don't need a divorce. A divorce means, just so you understand, a divorce means I was legally married to somebody and now I want to legally terminate my marriage. That's not what happened here. What happened here is you were never legally married to this man. Your marriage was void from inception. So you want a judge to issue an order of annulment to confirm to the world your marriage is void.
Okay, so I did all of that. I went to a lawyer, and he is charging me because he's saying that's a divorce case. So now he's doing a divorce case instead of doing an annulment.
No, you're not
so
doing
that's why I'm calling you.
Then the lawyer doesn't know what he's doing. Get an annulment. It's not a divorce.
Okay, that's my
Find a
first
new lawyer.
question. Okay, sir. My next question. I have a 14-year-old. She's been here since she's 9. Does she qualify under the SEG?
Where's the father?
Under SIG?
Where's the father?
Her father is not in the picture. He was never in the picture.
So if the father has abandoned or neglected this child, the child's under 18, you could bring the child locally into family court, get legal guardianship of the child, ask the judge to make a special ruling that the father, the biological father, is out of the picture, abandoned this child, neglected this child. If this child were to go back to his or her country, there's nobody there to raise this child. That child would then get this special ruling that it's not in the child's best interest to return to his or her home country because at least one biological parent has abandoned or neglected that child. This all happens under the age of 18. That child is now qualified to file an adjustment as a special immigrant juvenile.
Okay, and would I need a lawyer to do that?
You need a lawyer to do both the family court locally as well as the immigration case. Because and you need a lawyer who's going to do it properly. I mean, because a lawyer goes into family court, gets you guardianship, but doesn't get the special ruling done properly, it's no good.
Okay. So you said family court special ruling.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Brad.
All right. You're welcome. Let's go to Jen in Wilmington, Delaware. Jen.
Hi, Mr. Brad.
Hi,
How are you today?
You? Good.
I'm fine, thank you. I have a question, well, several questions.
Several.
I filed VAWA back in 2018. And it got denied because I did not have the evidence in on time, so it was declared abandoned. The lawyer figured a way out to refile again. I think there was a mistake made, and they asked for evidence a second time in January. So that was the deadline, January 2021. But there was something we delayed. So my question is it true that there's a 60-day
yes, there is.
Grace period?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. Okay. I've had an advance parole for probably since 2017. And of course, under the VAWA, I still do have the advance parole and the work permit. My question is, can I be able to leave the country? Do I need a particular reason to be able to travel?
No, as long as you have a valid advance parole, you can travel. Don't stay out for more than 4 weeks. And any RFE you get between now and June 1st, whatever the deadline is, gets an extension of 60 days because of COVID. After June 1st, no dice. But this happened before June 1st, so you get an extra 60 days.
Wonderful. Now, one more thing. Now, I didn't do any biometrics for the recent advanced
They're
parole.
using your old one. It's fine. As long as you have a valid document, travel.
Yes.
It's
okay.
fine.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right.
I appreciate it.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Mohammed in Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
How are you?
How are you, sir? I'm
good.
Sir, I came here at 219. When my visa expired, I applied for asylum. So after that, 220, the 7th month, I married a U.S. citizen, and I applied for a green card, like March 1st. So they received my.
What is your question? What's your question?
My question is I received the fingerprint and everything. They sent me everything they received my package.
What is
expired.
your question? You're just giving me random facts. What is the question?
Okay, my question, sir, is how I prepare for the interview. I married a lady. She's
How do you prepare? How do you prepare for an interview? You prepare to prove that you and this woman are in a bona fide marriage. What is a bona fide marriage? A bona fide marriage is somebody who is a couple that have a financial relationship and a couple that lives together. Those are the two things. Immigration has blinders on. Okay, so if you come in and have a financial relationship and don't live together, they're gonna presume you're not in a real marriage. If you live together but don't have a financial relationship, they're gonna presume you don't have a real marriage. Don't give them presumptions. Give them the real facts. The real facts are: I live together, I have a financial relationship with my wife. Here it is. That's how you prepare.
We live together, but we don't have a financial relationship.
So start a financial relationship now. Better late than never.
I don't have a social security, so we don't have I cannot have a bank account.
What? Yes, you can. You can have a joint. You can be added to your wife's account without a social security. Just don't have a interest-bearing account. But when did you apply for your work permit?
I applied for a work permit like April.
April of last year? Then something's wrong with...
No, April this year.
Okay, fine. So you're not going to get a work permit till the end of the summer. When you get the end of the summer, if the bank won't do it, then do your joint bank account at that point. In the meantime, start making sure that you get bills to your home in your name and your wife's name and jointly as best as you can.
Yeah. So I don't have to do a joint bank account until I have my.
You have to do a joint bank account, but if you can't, you can't. You do it when you can.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir. I'm trying to be quick. So, my wife, we have a big difference age. Like she's 48 and I'm 25. Is that going to be a problem?
Of course it is. They're going to think that you just married her to get a green card, which is even more reason to show you live together and have a joint relationship. The fact that you're 25 and 48 is in of itself not a reason to deny you. And there's plenty of people who marry older women and you know, they're in Hollywood and everywhere else that don't need green cards at all. So it's not unusual that it happens. It's just, again, immigration has blinders on. As soon as they see an age difference, it's like Julian the TriCaster guy going ding, 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 ding. All of a sudden their eyes light up and they're like, okay, maybe this is not a real marriage. Let me see all your financial documents. Let me see proof you live together. So you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared that they're going to ask more questions than they would in a usual marriage. But let me end the call with this. If in fact it's a real marriage, and if in fact you live with her and you love each other, you've got nothing to worry about. It's easy to prove the truth.
So do you think my interview is going to be soon? Because
I
applied.
You just applied last month.
I applied 5 March.
You just then you applied 3 months ago. Your interview won't be until next year.
My interview is not going to be until next year.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Good luck. Hold on if you need help.
Thank you.
Hold on if you need help. Anthony in Hartford.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good question.
Yes.
I was married before, came here on a green card, basically, from Jamaica. But I was divorced in 2012, I tried to get my condition removed in 2015, and I've been waiting ever since.
You've been waiting since 2015 for a reply on an I-751?
Yes.
How do you know that your case is still pending? It seems very odd that it would be 6 years and you're still waiting on a decision.
Because I have a receipt number, and they gave me a receipt number.
Did you ever check to see if it was decided on? Did you ever go to a lawyer and say, hey, 6 years seems to be a very long time? Have you ever checked to see if you're in deportation?
Oh, no, I've never checked to see any of that.
All right. 6 years is extraordinarily long. If your case is still pending after 6 years, I would be filing a mandamus and filing for your citizenship simultaneously, or one or the other. But it seems to me, my guess would be that maybe you're denied. I don't know for a fact, but it seems 6 years is a long time. Or maybe you're approved and you don't know it. One or the
Well,
other.
listen, they gave me a new receipt number, but this was since 2018. They have update on it. The last update was 2018, but still nothing.
I
But
think
what
it sounds like you need a lawyer. That's what happens at this point.
All
6
right,
years,
so-
I mean, come on.
I only have one more question because it's very important. The thing is, since that, obviously, I would meet somebody else. So I met somebody within 2 years now dating, and they know my situation. I was wondering if I remarried, if it's going to be a problem, or I should just wait because it's been a while and I've been waiting.
You can remarry, but you can't refile for a new green card because you apparently still have a green card. So you can't adjust from green card to green card because you already have one. So yes, you can remarry. You're allowed to fall in love again, but your new wife wouldn't be doing anything for you until a decision is made on your I-751. So again, it goes back to you need a good lawyer. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Maybe I'm that good lawyer. I don't know. Maybe. And by the way, if you didn't get your immigration question answered here, we will be going to social media check-in in a few minutes. You could also follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein. If you follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein, you can drop me a DM, ask anybody in the comments. I do answer it. It's me personally answering it. Sometimes I take a few days, and my answer could be anywhere from yes, no, give you a full answer. Sometimes I'll say, just like this last gentleman who called from Hartford, Connecticut, you need a lawyer. But certainly drop me a DM, and you will be talking to me on at Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram. You could also follow us at Brad Show Live. If you follow us at Brad Show Live on Instagram, you will get the best 30 seconds of Brad Show Live. You can't handle 2 hours of me. You can't handle 2 hours of Jonathan and Vanessa, but you can handle 30 seconds of us. Follow us on Instagram at Brad Show Live. You could also follow us now on TikTok at Brad Show Live. People love the TikTok. If you follow us on TikTok at Brad Show Live, you will see every speed round we have ever done from the beginning of time to now. People love it. Jonathan, Yo-Yo Elias, what do you got?
Yep, you guys can follow me at Jonathan Elias TV on Instagram.
And you guys can find me at Vanessa.Contreras TV.
And later in the show, I will speak with Armenian artist and activist Rima Makarian about her work as the executive director of the public art Monarch and SCAPE Projects in Sonoma, California, and a recent trip to Armenia, where she documented the plight of refugees displaced from the 2020 war.
And in today's attorney close-up, of Spar and Bernstein partner and immigration attorney Shannon Laguerre-Magret answers the question, when will I get my results from my Stokes interview?
So usually the officers will tell you as soon as the interview's all over, please give us 120 days for this to be completed. There's a lot of work that goes into this. I mean, they need to basically do background checks, security clearances. The officers are getting up to 10 cases a day, and some of them can be very, very complicated. And so therefore they need the time to be able to assess all of this information before giving an answer. So if 120 days does pass by, then at that point you should really reach out to your attorney.
All right, let's do something we like to call social media check-in. What do we got?
All right, our first one comes from Shy Brown, is a VIP Brad Squad member, and in order to become a VIP Brad Squad member, all you have to do is go on Facebook, put in VIP Brad Squad in the search engine, and all you have to do after that is request. We will accept your want and your request to become a VIP member. And what you guys get is you could throw in your question anytime throughout the day, and we will take the first 5 questions every day and put them before any of the social media questions that we get during the live show. All right, the best thing ever. So make sure you guys request to become a VIP member. So Shy Brown did that and asked, how can I speed up my case to quickly get an interview? My case has been stuck at the NVC for 6 months.
Well, it depends if your priority date is current or not. They're so backed up at the U.S. Embassy, but if your priority date is current, perhaps we can do something. If you are married to a U.S. citizen, they would be given priority, or children under 21 are given priority. But how you do it is just start by making a telephone call to the NVC.
Patrick Camgag, another Brad Squad VIP member, how can someone speed up his asylum case for an interview quickly? He filed in 2017.
File a mandamus or a threat of a mandamus.
Okay, Joan Ambitious Powell, another VIP Brad Squad member. Can someone submit an adjustment of status through marriage while an H-1B is still processing?
Yes, because H-1B is dual intent, so you can absolutely do it.
Amy Sayers, another Brad Squad VIP member. If we finalized our domestic adoption in the Philippines and met the 2-year physical and legal custody requirement by USCIS, can we file DCF under exceptional circumstances at the U.S. Embassy?
DCF?
Yeah. Can we file DCF under
what would DCF
exceptional
stand for?
I mean,
I'm not sure what DCF
like
would stand for. It's probably, I'm not sure what DCF stands for. It's not discounted cash flow. No, it is not.
Is it direct consular filing?
Maybe direct consular filing, perhaps. You need to file an I-130. You need to prove all of this. You can't pass the I-130 stage and go directly to the U.S. Embassy and file, if that's the question. You would still have to file an I-130, get it approved, go through the National Visa Center. That could probably be the question. Thank you, Yaya.
Yeah, no problem.
Right.
All right, Ibrahim Jallo, another VIP Brad Squad member, is asking, can you explain the Supreme Court's decision to grant green cards to people under deportation who stayed here for 10 years with no trouble with the law?
There is no Supreme Court decision to grant green cards to people for 10 years with no trouble with the law. So the explanation is there's no such thing. There is a law called cancellation of removal. It's in the Immigration and Nationality Act. It's been around since 1996 that says if you are in removal, which is deportation, and you can show extreme and unusual hardship to your spouse or children under the age of 21, and you are a person of good moral character, you can have your deportation or removal suspended and be granted adjustment of status to that of a lawful permanent resident. But that's a high burden to prove, number one. And number two, you can only do it while in removal or deportation. And number three, God forbid you lose, you're getting deported.
Yuli Victoria on Facebook, my U.S. citizen daughter filed a petition for me and her father almost 2 years ago. How long will it take until we receive a decision from USCIS?
If you are under 21, you should have gotten a decision. If you're over 21, then it'll take probably another couple of years. This is a wife or children? I'm confused a second.
A mother, I believe. My U.S. citizen daughter filed a petition for me.
Okay, so then I had it all wrong. I didn't hear that part. My apologies. If it's more than 2 years, you're an immediate relative. You should have heard already. I would do a mandamus.
Okay, Lonnie.
Disregard what I said before.
Lonnie Russell on Facebook. After a person gets the I-175 approved, how long do I have to wait until I file the N-400?
That's the I-751. If you are in you're in a bona fide marriage with your spouse and you've had a conditional resident and permanent residence for over 3 years, do it right away. If you did it based on abuse or divorce, it's 5 years from the time you got your conditional resident status. So it's not the time, just to be clear, it's not the time that the I-751 got approved. It's not the time that you've been a permanent resident. They count your residence from the time you got your initial 2-year green card. That's what trips everyone up. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Okay, Bruno D'Amato on YouTube. If my husband and I have been married for 3 months and he is extremely abusive, can I file for VAWA?
Absolutely. You should.
Laverne Parker on Facebook. If my status on state.gov says ready, what does that mean?
Ready. It means you're ready. Ready, Freddie. Means
ready,
you're
Freddie.
Ready, Freddie. Means you're ready for an interview. We're just waiting for them to schedule it. That's what it means.
La Kitty on YouTube. How long after receiving my receipt of notice do I need to complete biometrics?
they'll schedule you for the biometrics. You wait for them to schedule it.
Kamar Shahid on Facebook, when will the Senate vote on the DREAM Act?
Good question. Hopefully by year end.
David Agbu on YouTube, who is qualified for a special immigrant juvenile visa?
Anyone who's under 18 who can prove in family court that they were abandoned, neglected by their or abused by one of their parents, and it's not in their best interest to be reunited with them either here or in another country. In certain states, such as New York, you can do it till 21 family court proceedings. Other states, it's 18.
Hitachi Sherpa on YouTube, could some parts of the immigration bill pass through reconciliation?
Of course, yes. You know, that's the difference between getting 60 votes in the Senate and 50 votes in the Senate. So we'll see how they do it.
Sharon Ani Yawuki on Facebook, if I once had a visitor's visa and it has expired, do I need to reapply for a visitor visa or can I renew my old one?
You have to reapply for a new one. But it's basically saying the same thing. You're basically applying for, it's 6 1/2 dozen. It's just semantics. But you have to make a new application for a new visa.
Okay, Buki O on YouTube. Can I still apply for asylum after 2 years and 6 months of being in the U.S.? And if yes, can you help me?
Only under circumstances where literally circumstances have changed. Where when you first came into the United States of America, it was safe for you to return home, and something happened between 1 year and 2.5 years that has completely changed circumstances, and as a result, now you have a fear of returning home.
Sugar K on YouTube, with the new Biden rules, will it be okay to add my husband to my housing?
Is it okay to add him to? It's not a good thing, but it's much easier than under Trump. 3 more.
Okay. Sheila St. Aubin on YouTube. If I'm in Venezuela and my father is a U.S. citizen and I had an LPR, but I came back to Venezuela, how can I return to the U.S.?
An SB1 visa if you've been out for more than a year and show that it was not your intent to abandon your permanent residence. 2 more, Vanessa.
Mariovo5 on YouTube. If I completed my biometrics 2 weeks ago in an attempt to get a replacement green card, how long will it take for it to arrive in the mail?
I don't know, but it'll take weeks and weeks or a month or 2 months or 3 months. But if you need something beforehand, get a stamp in your passport, make an InfoPass appointment, go down to the local immigration office.
Okay, last one from Wingy Sadler on Facebook. How long will it take for an American citizen who files for her mom to get her green card if her mom is in the Dominican Republic?
It shouldn't take more than 18 months, but right now it's taking over 2 years. If it's more than 18 months, give us a call. And with that being said, Rima Makarian, she's an Armenian American artist and activist. I spoke with Rima about her position as the executive director of the public art Monarch and SCAPE Projects in Sonoma County, California, and her recent trip to Armenia, where she documented the plight of the Armenian refugees displaced after the 2020 war in that region in a project titled The Forgotten Faces of Artsakh. Rima Makaryan is an Armenian American artist and 18-year-old immigrant rights activist. Her art and her work spans from California all the way to Armenia. She joins me today to discuss her passion for social justice in the United States and abroad, and her recent trip to Armenia, where she worked with and documented the stories of refugees displaced after the 2020 war in that region. Hi, and thank you very much for coming on, Rima. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So you were not born in the United States. Tell us a little bit about your immigration story.
So my kind of immigration story is an interesting one. My family came to the U.S. accidentally, to put it quite plainly. We applied for the green card just for fun because some other family friend had done it.
The green card lottery you're talking about.
Yes, the green card lottery. And the family that wanted to go didn't win, but we did. And so kind of on a whim, my parents decided that, the U.S. would offer a better, future for me and my brother. And they decided to come here in 2010. So I moved here when I was around 8 years old, and I've been living in Santa Rosa, California since then.
What's your recollection of living in Armenia before you immigrated to the United States?
It's full of memories at my grandmother's house. It's full of memories of snow days and kind of going to school and the city and just those walks from, my grandmother's house to school and all of those things. So just bits and pieces of a really happy, blissful life.
Were your parents happy in Armenia as well?
My parents were happy to a certain extent. My mother worked as an OBGYN. She was very well respected. My father worked in a bank. But because of the corruption that was in Armenia, neither of my parents could earn an honest living. So even as a doctor, my mother did not earn enough money because she chose to do things honestly and didn't take bribes and other things like that. So it was a very difficult system to be successful in and be honest at the same time. So that's one of the big reasons that I decided to come to the US.
I assume you didn't speak any English when you came.
No, I did not speak any English. I knew the English alphabet, and that was probably it. I came here and I moved into a community that was actually hugely, immigrant for the most part, but, they were mostly Mexican Americans and other Hispanic populations. So it was kind of like a double culture shock. So, you come to the US expecting to be immersed in kind of, the American English culture, but then you're immersed in a completely different one that you were not, expecting at all. Surprisingly, I related a lot more to that culture than to kind of the US American culture.
Why do you say that? Why did you relate more?
The family is the biggest part. And I think how closely connected and close-knit they were was a lot more relatable to me than kind of the American lifestyle.
And were there many Armenians in that community too, or was mostly
No, I think I know just about every Armenian who lives in the city, and that's like 3 families. So we're basically one giant Armenian family. That's how Armenians function. We just find each other and become one big one family.
So were you happy to move here? Was it an unhappy experience at first?
It was definitely unhappy because as a family, we were really tied to my grandparents, and we really didn't know anyone here except my aunt's mother-in-law, and that was about it. So we were kind of the very first people to move to the country and completely isolated from everyone and everything. Didn't really know how to find resources in the US at all. So it was definitely difficult in the beginning.
You're an artist and you're incorporating your art into immigration rights. Tell me how that all came about.
So I'll start with the art piece because that came before the activism. When I moved to the US, I did not have friends. I did not have anyone to turn to, and I had a lot of free time on my hands. And I think most of that time went to creating art and also writing at the same time. So I would write poetry in English to try to learn the language and kind of illustrated my poems on the side. So I think that's where my love for art really grew. I drew as a child before that, but I think it was during that time of isolation that, my art really flourished.
I'm actually looking at one of your first murals right behind you, right?
Yes, this is one of those first pieces. This is after I'd kind of dived into social justice more, because this is definitely a political piece. When I started high school, that was, I think, when Donald Trump first became president. And the first thing that I remember from his presidency was kind of the threat that he put DACA under. And kind of as a young immigrant, that really resonated with me. It made me realize that there's a very small difference between me and the people who were being, placed in a dangerous situation as a result of this policy change. The only difference being that I had the privilege to come here legally and they did not. So I think it was that specific policy, what happened to DACA, that really put me into the activist world. And when I really started to care about social justice on a deep level, I lived in a community where, majority were people of color, majority were Latino, Latinx. And so I could definitely see the impact firsthand. We had kind of staff at our school who were DACA recipients themselves, students who were DACA recipients themselves. It didn't feel like something that was really far away. It felt like was right in my own backyard.
When did all of this happen?
I don't remember where the idea came from specifically, but I recalled, brainstorming about ways to communicate, what was really going on and to kind of talk about the human side, because I was really tired of political discussions where people just used really, really toxic language, and it was just a very toxic culture in general. So I wanted to find a way to cut through the noise, cut through the sound bites, and really kind of hone in on the human side of the experience. And that's when this piece kind of was born.
And you founded the Coco Monarch Project. Tell me what that is.
So the Monarch Project kind of happened while I was painting this mural. We had a bunch of extra volunteers and I didn't know what to do with them. So I laid out pieces of fabric and they just painted monarch butterflies. And I saw that it was a symbol that resonated with a lot of different people for different reasons. For some of them, it was about immigration. For others, it was purely about chasing your dreams. And so I had seen that whatever I'd started with this project was something that could be taken to the next level. And that's kind of when I founded the Monarch Project, and I decided to spread this message of kind of unity and, again, cutting through the noise and using powerful symbols, beautiful symbols, to connect people.
What is the SCAPE mural project?
So the SCAPE mural project started after the George Floyd protests and the kind of Black Lives Matter movement after it had revived. And I think our community was looking again for another outlet to talk about the issue. And I was approached by a group of really powerful, amazing women who wanted to create this mural project. And they didn't have any experience with painting murals or, you know, anything of this kind, but it was just a purely people who were really, really inspired and empowered to do something. And so they reached out to me and we started to work together to create a series of murals kind of around empowering all groups of people.
Each of your projects is quite interactive. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Well, there's different ways that people can interact with my pieces. For one, it's the actual creation process. These pieces are volunteer run for the most part. So we have at least 20, 50 people working on the project at a time. It really allows for the community to be fully immersed in the process and to feel like they have a voice in whatever movement that we're trying to support. So it empowers people to kind of take matters in their own hands and to see something that they've created on their own walls of the city.
You were recently in Armenia working on a project called The Forgotten Faces of Artsakh. Tell us about that.
So I think it was September and October when this war broke out in Armenia.
Well, let's have a little background. There was a war in Armenia between Azerbaijan and the ethnic Armenians.
That's
Over
right.
a slice of land. And there was a lot of displaced people, and it doesn't make the news a lot, but it was a horrible situation what was going on there. And you went to and document this, almost being a teenage war correspondent. What made you want to go back to Armenia and document this?
I just couldn't sit still is I think the best answer. You know, when this was going on, it did not feel right to be here in the US and kind of watching that unveil passively. So I really had no choice but to go for me personally. So I really wanted to make sure that this story was not forgotten. And I think as a child, one of the things that really embedded that kind of activist spirit in me was my parents telling me about the Armenian genocide and always feeling like it was forgotten, that it was ignored and that no one was telling the story. And I would always tell myself, like, if I was alive during that time, there's no way people wouldn't have heard about this. Like, I would make sure that people knew. This was like, as a child, my fantasy. And then the war broke out in October and September, and I realized that this was kind of the equivalent of that in my time. So I had to go and I had to make sure that this was not forgotten by the world.
What did you think as an Armenian here in the United States of America, where there's a brutal war going on in your home country? You don't really read or hear about it in the United States.
Right. I mean, it's unfortunately a feeling that we're very used to. So I was not surprised or shocked, maybe a little bit disappointed, but I think at this point when you're so used to kind of being brushed aside, you just kind of accept it. But of course, there's still that anger and that sadness that those histories are being lost and that this injustice is taking place without anyone knowing. But also, understanding that it was a chaotic time for the entire world, but also kind of thinking about kind of relativities in terms of problems in the world and always thinking that, okay, but my problem is more important than yours. Why are you not paying attention to the destruction that is taking place in this home country? So it was a mix of anger, understanding, and disappointment.
How long were you in Armenia?
I was there for about 5 weeks.
Were you there during the war or after the war?
I was there just after the war. I decided to go, I was ready to go during the war, but by the time I had, bought my tickets and finished my first quarter of college, the war had ended. But the fallout of the war was, I think, just as intense as the war itself. It was a time of crisis in the country, a time of grief, and a time where people were really starting to understand what just happened. Because before, I think you're kind of lost in the shock and you're not really fully comprehending the gravity of the situation.
Did you ever feel that your life was in danger when you went back there?
I think flying in was a little bit nerve-wracking because even if the war was officially complete, there were still tensions on both sides. Troops hadn't totally left and Russian peacekeepers weren't in place yet. But my family was very, very protective and they didn't let me go into the places where I would really, really be in danger. I had my whole trip planned to go to Artsakh, and at the last minute, a hostage crisis broke out and they decided that would not be rational for me to go, unfortunately.
So how were you able to gain access to document what you documented?
So I worked with the provisional government of Armenia, of Glory province, which is where I'm from. And I worked with the Women's and Children's Human Rights Protection Center of the kind of administrative government. And they kind of had records of where everyone was. And we were lucky enough to be able to visit all of them in their homes.
Let's watch a short clip from some of your interviews of the refugees from the recent war in Armenia.
Առավոտյան ժամը 7-ից ես վերթարել կամ փոցից դե հենց շենքերի վրա ենք գցեցին շենքերի վրա մենք հասցրեցինք դեպք կրկից երեխաներին ժամանակում ճիշտ ասած մինչև հիմա հիշելուց այսպես արսափում եմ ես ոնց գտա ուժի մեջ որ կարած երեխաներից հանեմ.
Can you give a little background as you know it? And obviously, as Armenian, you have one opinion of what's going on. And I guess if we spoke to somebody from Azerbaijan or Turkey, which is, I think, on the side of Azerbaijan, they would have a different opinion. But can you give us, at least from your perspective, what is going on in the conflict?
So that is a history that dates back centuries, and I won't go that far back, and I'll sum it up like this. You know, Armenia is the only Christian country in that region at the moment. It is surrounded by other Muslim states, and dating back to, I don't know, the Armenian genocide and before that, there have been huge tensions between those ethnic groups. There have been times of peace where you have like bigger governments who have mediated the situation and kind of frozen these sentiments, but there has been so much bloodshed on both sides where each ethnic group regards the other as a complete enemy to a dehumanizing extent, I would say. And for Armenians, that comes from, again, the Armenian genocide. It comes from the fact that we rarely, if ever, initiate conflict, and it's always people trying to destroy our culture, trying to take away our language and our religion. And us simply trying to defend that. So that's kind of where that comes from, the historical sentiment. Specifically, this situation is kind of a continuation of that over a very specific region, which is the Artsakh region or Nagorno-Karabakh. So there's two different names that you can call the same place. And it's a matter of principle more than anything to be able to call that land your own. For Armenians, it's about protecting the ethnic people who live in that area. For Azerbaijan, it's about claiming land that they believe is rightfully theirs because of policies enacted after the collapse of the Soviet Union.
So how many Armenian refugees are there right now as a result of this war, do you know?
At the moment, I do not know because there's been so much changements and people moving and going, leaving the country even. But I think the conflict itself displaced 150,000 Armenians from their homes. And I think we lost about 4,000 or 5,000 lives.
And even if their homes are still standing, I would assume that a lot are afraid to go back, that they may be killed.
Definitely. Some lands are simply not, they're completely destroyed, so there's nothing there left. And other lands have been taken by Azerbaijan. And the legal policy is that they can fully return and they can continue living their lives with other Azeris. But that is simply not the case. I think any Armenian who stepped foot in Azerbaijan at the moment would probably be dead within the first day at most.
Where are they living now? How are they surviving?
Essentially what has happened is different provinces in Armenia have taken these families under their wing and they've kind of helped them find different forms of housing. Some people have been lucky enough to have relatives that they can move in with in Armenia, but for the most part, people are living in kind of, you know, extra homes here and there. Some people are living in kind of like a former orphanage. So there's like 10 different families living in one building, kind of every family to a single room, essentially. And the hardest part, I think, is the winter. At the moment, Armenia's winters are very, very intense and very, very cold. And for the most part, people stay warm by burning wood. And so there's constantly that fear of not having enough of that or freezing overnight and things like that.
Tomorrow, we will hear some specific stories about some of the Armenian refugees Rima met and spoke with in the Forgotten Faces of Artsakh. All right, 50 seconds, 9 immigration questions. I'm going to answer 9 immigration questions in 50 seconds. And if not, as a surprise today, Vanessa and Yo-Yo will get blown up. Nothing happens to me. Pressure's on you guys.
No iron team, Brad.
Pressure's on you guys. I hope.
All right.
I hope you stay safe. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Go.
Can I travel to Mexico with my U.S. conditional residency card?
As long as you have a visa to enter Mexico, yeah.
What are the chances of your case being denied if you file for a mandamus?
0 unless you have a deniable case. If you have an approvable case, you'll get approved. If you have a deniable case, it'll be denied.
How long will it take for a VAWA green card holder to become a citizen?
3 years from the time you got your green card.
Can a church sponsor me for a religious visa?
Sure, as long as you're a religious.
What is the I-130? What's a I-130 petition?
That's a visa petition for a family member.
Can I apply for asylum if I am 18 years old?
Yes.
Did Biden end Trump's Muslim ban?
Yes.
Are immigrant courts open in New York?
Very soon.
What form do I use?
What do you use for adjustment status?
9.
Damn! Julian said you were going to get blown up and it was me! I said, Julian, I don't want to get blown up today. He goes, don't worry, it's going to be Vanessa and Yo-Yo. I said,
don't know
great.
why I read that it was 9. I thought it was 9.
And I'm waiting for the last 6 seconds, and Yo-Yo just blew me up, man. He just blew me up.
I'm like,
What was the? I have specific dates on when the courts are going to open for non-detained cases in New York. Actually, let me get that for you. Let's see. July. EOIR plans to resume non-detained hearings. I'm just answering that last question. Dallas, El Paso, Snelling, Harlingen, Houston, Kansas City, New York Federal Plaza, Varick Street, Portland, San Antonio, San Juan. Hearings in non-detained cases for deportation that are scheduled at the above listed courts are postponed through July 3rd. Non-citizens who have not received a notice of reset hearings by June 22nd should expect scheduled hearings to proceed. As of July 6th, all immigration courts will be open and having hearings. So the answer is July 6th. And what was the last question?
What form do I use for an adjustment of status?
I-45. That was an easy one. I can't believe I got blown up on that one.
Super easy. Super easy.
That's a damn.
That is a damn.
Well, damn. It's just the start of the week. Good thing we have a few more days to not get blown up.
Yes, good thing I have like a cat with 9 lives. Every day I come back. No matter how much you kill me, I'm back the next day.
That's what I'm talking about. Inspiration right there.
All right, comments of the day. What do we got?
All right, our first one comes from Melanie Abiola Allen saying, hello, Uncle Brad, Yo-Yo, and Vanessa. Big up y'all self. Enough love. We on the best immigration show in the world, 100%.
Yes, that's what I have to say. Okay. Even when I get blown up, it's still the
best.
Still the best.
Yes.
Carlene. Oh, our next comment of the day comes from Carlene saying, thanks, Brad. Also to your wonderful team. Thanks for all the very informative information that you give us each evening. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. And our third comment of the day comes from Carol Anderson, the Tiger, saying, I never miss my Brad Show live. This is my #1 show to watch. I love it and everyone on it. So that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Tiger. Yes.
You don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
Okay. Our next comment of the day comes from Tali, and she says, wow, Brad, show live is the OnlyFans. Oh, it's on OnlyFans too. Nice.
It is on OnlyFans too. Not OnlyFans 2, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans TV.
Also.
TV also. Right.
Yes.
You could see me do this. No, I'm only kidding. I'm completely. No. I am the first lawyer on OnlyFans, and I have all my clothes on, and they ain't coming off.
It ain't coming unless they throw on your twerk video. All right. We have one more comment of the day, our last comment of the day. Comes from Miloslav Minkov saying, why Uncle Brad is the best. Simple. He can answer every question that you throw at him without hesitation, and he always knows the right answer to all your questions. Now, he is the encyclopedia of immigration knowledge.
That is all true, 100%. I agree.
Wait.
I agree. Thank you very much, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. Great job, crew behind me. Thank you, squad, for coming to watch. Please spread the word. Tell everybody we're going to be live tomorrow at 6 o'clock, and we're going to do this all over again, except I won't get blown up this time. See you tomorrow. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAWLINK. 1-800-529-5465. What are you doing?